Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse 1 here. Today is Thursday. It is the 9th of December, 2021. And I have my list here. So I wanted to go over this list with you guys because of the threat of possible nuclear war is having a nuclear war survival kit. Okay? What should you be having? How you should be planning, to prepare for that type of situation. Now, I got a list here of things, and I'm going to go over these, and we're going to discuss them as we go over them, and we will go from there. So, the first thing, number one on the list, is going to be water. All right. If there is a nuclear attack, whatever water would be out and about that you would have to get would probably be contaminated. Number one, you would have to leave your shelter to go and get said water, which is already contaminated. Now, there's two ways that you can work on purifying that water to make it drinkable again. One is a soil filter, and the other one is a reverse osmosis filter. Now, those are two things that you can look up on how to do those things, but those are two options that you have. Now, obviously, the third option is making sure you have plenty of water on hand ahead of time. And the rule of thumb is 1 gallon of water per person per day. So, depending on how many people you have in your household, and let's say you have a basement or a room that you have designated to be the room where you're going to try to ride out a situation. Probably a basement would be a better option because it would be underground, and you'd have a little bit more room to work with than, say, a regular room. Okay, so water would definitely be number one. So what you're basically trying to do in a situation, if there is a nuclear attack, you're going to try to shelter in place as long as you possibly can. That's the goal, because the more you can shelter in place, the radiation's not going to affect you, hopefully, and you'll be able to survive whatever's going to happen. Number two is going to be food, making sure you have plenty of food on hand as you are sheltering in place. Making sure that you have, making sure that you have enough food to be able to get through until said time when you would have to leave that shelter. And along with that food is how are you going to heat that food, right? So obviously having a camp stove, plenty of propane, those type of things on hand to be able to cook that food. You don't want to be eating stuff cold out of a can. I mean, if you have to, you have to, but if you don't have to, it's definitely better to be able to heat that food up. So that's something you would have to plan for as well. All right. Number three would be a bug out bag, making sure that you have a bug out bag if you're forced to leave your situation. Why would you be forced to leave your situation? If your shelter was damaged or there was fires that were threatening your area of where you were at, you may have to leave that area. So you would definitely have to plan for that, and making sure you have bug out bags that you can utilize to do so would be a good thing. All right. The next one would be comms, making sure you have gear to be able to hear what's going on, because communications would be down. Maybe the radio is not going to give you updated information of what's happening, but if you have a ham radio, or if you have a CB, anything like that, where you can talk with other people, find out what's happening in their area. Is there a safer location to travel to when you do have to travel out of your location, depending on where you are, obviously. All right, so communications is going to be really, really important. All right. The next thing would be to make sure you have a Faraday cage for those comms and other forms of communication that you have, any kind of electronic devices that you have, because along with a nuclear attack, most likely would be an EMP would be involved as well. So making sure you have a Faraday cage or have things in a Faraday cage to keep things that you can utilize them afterwards would be a really, really smart thing to do. All right. Next thing would be power. being able to have, you're going to need power for a lot of different reasons. And so making sure, again, and that's, making sure that those things are going to work, so that if you have like the backup generator and those type of things, that is going to be something that is going to be working for you to help you in that situation. All right. The next one is going to be light. So that would be flashlights, headlamps. I like the D lights, the ones I've showed you guys before, that are sun powered. They will solar powered lights that work fantastic, and they are a great thing to have. That is one thing I recommend that everybody have, because batteries are going to eventually run out with flashlights and those type of things. Even if you have rechargeable kind, eventually they will wear out and they won't recharge anymore. But those solar lights are going to always work for you. Having candles and those type of things as well is an alternative light source. You have those lights that people put along their walkways and stuff like that, the solar lights that way as well. Those are a good thing to have as well. All right. The next thing would be gas mask hazmat suits. If you have to leave your bug out location, and there's been a nuclear fallout, and there's fallout out there, anytime that you would leave your shelter, you definitely would want to be having to be wearing your hazmat suits. So along with that, you're obviously going to want to have duct tape, so that you can duct tape any of the seams from the gloves to your suit, all those type of situations. Just be smart, be prepared as much as you can for that type of situation. Now, in your bug out shelter, making sure you have heavy plastic, having that duct tape as well, so that you can seal up windows and vents under the doors and all those type of things, so that you can keep that room as an isolated area, and you're not having that fallout coming in there and affecting everybody. The next thing would be a Geiger counter or radiation detector. Having one of those is definitely a good thing. Again, you're talking about some expense, but not a bad thing to have, so you can detect what the rads are, know where your danger levels are. If you're going into an area that is higher radiation count, you may want to change direction and go someplace else. So having that information is really important. So having that Geiger counter or radiation detector is a very smart thing to do, preparing for that type of a situation. Potassium iodine. Okay, what the potassium iodine is going to do when you are dealing with radiation that's going to go into the thyroid, you can develop thyroid cancer. The potassium iodine is going to help absorb that radiation, so that you don't end up getting that thyroid cancer. So that's something that's really important to have. Definitely something that you should have in your preps. And I will be honest, me personally, I don't have any potassium iodine as of this moment in my preps. I don't. I'm not really super prepared for a nuclear attack. I've been trying to square away for everything else. So, but I do have plenty of plastic. I do have plenty of duct tape, and we could isolate in place and not have to go anywhere for a long period of time if we had to. So, but again, definitely not as prepared as I should be. I do have gas masks, but I don't have hazmat. Well, actually, I do have some suits that I picked up. I do have some of those. That's right. So there is, that option. All right. So the next thing, a decontamination room. All right. You're going to want to have a room that you can come into. You can strip down everything that you've worn outside that does not go into the main area of where you're going to go. So you're going to have that room that you can take off those contaminated outer clothing, leave them in that other room, and then come in to your main area. My suggestion to people, honestly, in a nuclear attack, the longer that you can shelter in place to stay keeping your head low, not going outside, not exposing yourself to the radiation and stuff like that. Let's say you have all of this equipment, and you have the Geiger detector, and you have a radiation detector, and all those type of things, and you have your hazmat suit and your gas mask and all that, you're really not going to want to go outside unless you absolutely have to. All right, I would absolutely recommend staying inside. The longer you stay inside, the less exposure to radiation you're going to have. You're going to be in a much better situation because of that. So definitely be smart. Think about those things ahead of time, and just plan accordingly. You know, if you can stay inside and not ever even travel outside for 6 weeks or 2 months, the longer the better. You know, and again, depending on what time of year it is and stuff like that. I mean, you know, those are things that have to be taken into consideration. You know, you have to think about those things, planning ahead. You know, if you, like, let's say there was a nuclear attack and we had fallout up here. It's wintertime. I still got to heat with wood, so I still have to go out and get wood. But I would be in full hazmat gear. I would bring in wood from the woodshed, and we would utilize that for the fire. So that would be kept in a separate area, probably in the front hallway, and as we needed it, we would get those 1 or 2 pieces at a time and put them in the fire. That's how it would have to be done. You just have to really plan ahead as much as you possibly can. So those are things obviously to think about, and like I said again, plan on laying low as long as you possibly can. You're going to get stir crazy. You're going to lose your mind. You're going to want to go outside, but you got to be smart about it. You got to be smart. And the longer you can wait, the better off it's going to be for you. You get it down to a safer level, and realistically, and I want you to think about this, if you have plenty of food and you have plenty of water and you have things set up that you know you're going to be okay, where are you going to go anyway? Realistically. So the longer you can stay in place and shelter in place, do it. It's going to help with your survival. I hope this video helps. Hope it gives you something to think about. And I definitely want to hear your feedback on this video, okay? Again, real quickly, I want to remind everybody I have my sale going on. It's going to be ending on Sunday with the Legacy Freeze-Dried Foods on my website, preppernurse1.com. If you go there, you click on store, it will drop down, you will see Legacy Foods. You click on Legacy Foods, it will take you to the store within the website. What we have available is there, 25-year shelf life, GMO-free, gluten options available as well. It is the largest portion size of any of the other freeze-dried food companies. It is vegetarian, but there are beef and chicken options that can be purchased separately. So definitely take advantage of those things. Along with that, what else was I going to tell you? But anyway, so I am going to jump off here for now, guys. Just hang in there. I hope this type of video helps. I do plan on doing some more of these. Just trying to give you some ideas. Let's keep thinking. Let's if I'm leaving something out, I definitely would like to hear back from you guys and what you think that I may have left out or other thoughts that you had. All right. Remember, we are all in this together. We are one race called the human race. Also remember to hug and kiss the ones that you love. Tell them every single day, tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen in life. So it's really important we tell the people that we care about every single day how we feel. Last but not least, STD, step, thing, and day. One step at a time, one thing at a time, and one day at a time. Whatever you are trying to do, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you can do it. The only one that can stop you from reaching your goals is you. One last thing that I do want to mention about this. When people are going to go outside initially, make sure it's the older people in the group going outside and not the younger people. Younger people need to stay in as long as they possibly can, because any kind of radiation exposure, by the time it becomes fatal, which could be 15 to 20 years past that point, if you are already an older person, it's going to be, you know, less likely to affect you in that way where somebody younger it would. So just something else to share with you really quickly. All right, so hang in there. I will see you all later. I will be doing a second video later, and I am doing a members only live stream tonight at 8 o'clock for hardcore members only. All right, so definitely if you would like to be part of that, hit the join button. become a hardcore member, and you can join that get together. All right. I will talk to you all later. I hope you all have a great night. Prepper Nurse 1 out for now.